tonight, so you can have one of those aha breakthrough moments that my intention for you is to have with this valuable content. I also want you to stick around. We're going to do, he's going to actually agreed, we twisted his arm, his valuable time, to do a question and answer session for a little bit where you can personally get a chance to meet him and ask questions with him if you're on your computer watching the webinar, typing in questions. So very, very valuable. Today, special celebrity teacher and guest is a man who owns an international private equity group that buys, grows, and sells companies all around the world. They are doing deals in Australia, in the UK, South Africa, Canada, and of course all over the United States. And what I really, really like about our guest is that he's able to buy a majority of these companies without using any money or cash whatsoever. In fact, most of the companies that he requires, they pay him to take their equity in the company. I've never even thought that was possible, but he actually taught myself and a number of other major business associates on exactly how to do that. And then what he does is he grows these companies by using some very proprietary business strategies, and then he resells them for insane amounts of money and profits. I'm really, really excited that you're on the call, on the webinar, if you're attending tonight and having a chance to meet our special guest teacher, Mr. Mike Warren. And I've been working for months to get Mike on this training call and on this webinar because he's so busy doing deals all around the world. This guy's living his dream, literally, and just a super, super sweet, humble man filled with integrity, just very, very honorable, heart-based, big-hearted entrepreneur, my favorite kind of entrepreneur to work with. And Mike and I have known each other for quite a long time, and he's going to be able to share some strategies that are really revolutionary. And we're all, of course, looking for some simple, ethical ways to create cash flow, more cash flow, putting more money into our bank account, doing something that does not require tons of effort or a whole lot of cash up front, right? Now, you might be asking yourself, why would Mike be willing to share these strategies and secrets in an open forum like this? Well, the answer is easy. Right now, he is looking for partners to do deals with. And Mike has figured out a way to tap a virtually unknown market by dealing with businesses for sale or companies that need just a little bit of help. And what's great about it is that Mike needs our help, your help, in finding these types of deals, and he's willing to pay you large sums of money up front to help find him deals. Or you can even partner with him on some deals if you choose to as well. And he'll explain everything in just a few minutes when he gets started. So over the next hour, hour and a half, Mike is going to reveal his strategies for paying you $20,000 for simply finding and helping him acquire a business that's for sale, and sending it to his team and paying you up to $20,000 up front as soon as they buy the company. It's actually much simpler than I ever imagined. And I'm actually personally, I've got two businesses I referring to Mike and in the process of sending over to him. So I had no idea that this market was so huge and so easy to get into. But the best part, that there's no competition in this specific niche and industry. And on the side note, if you're interested in learning about how to buy a company with no money down, with no credit, or if you're currently working at a part or full-time job, then you absolutely need to listen to what Mike is about to teach you. It is powerful. And for those of you who don't know Mike, he's been in the real estate and buying and selling companies industry for over 2 decades. And the only time I've ever heard of anyone doing what Mike does was the same thing, for the movie, remember Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere? And in that movie, it shows you how Richard Gere was buying and selling, the business typed in selling, companies for insane amounts of profit. Well, this is not real estate or starting a side internet business or anything like this. This is about making enough money to replace your salaries if you're working as well, having another additional stream of income that's very, very passive for you with just doing a little bit of effort. Now, Mike's figured out how the small guy can do it, and he's made it much, much simpler, so that regardless of our background, by just doing a little bit of research, you can pretty much profit and capitalize from this additional stream of income for yourself, along with a very powerful education. And when he showed me how this works and how anyone could do it regardless, of their education, I mean, I got totally excited. I had to, have him on one of our events as soon as possible, because what he's doing is amazing, and it's very smart, and it's very, very profitable. Now, Mike holds a double MBA and has appeared on TV, radio, speaks to audiences all around the world on his techniques and strategies. He has different major leaders and hosts, around the world call Mike the man with the Midas touch, because he basically has the ability to turn troubled companies literally into gold. Mike has become one of the most sought-after experts, on this specific subject in the country, and he's a very, very high-in-demand, investor with investor groups and organizations all across the country because of his knowledge. And actually, I see Mike just came on to our call, so let me introduce him. Mike, are you there on the call with us?
Yeah, hey, Robert. Let me also say hi to everyone else. And, Robert, I'm very excited about being on this call right now, and I'm really looking forward to helping everybody that's with us today make some money by simply finding a business that wants to sell, that they could either flip to me, I'll pay them a big, hefty fee, or they could own themselves. And, in fact, Robert, if it's cool with you, I'm going to give a select few people over $8,000 in free education at the end of this training. So I really do want to encourage everyone to stay all the way to the end to hear how to do that.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear all about it before we get started. I also wanted to give everybody a little bit more information about you, Mike, real quick, okay?
Sure.
Mike, he's regularly shared the stage and been on the stage with notables like Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, Richard Branson, Rudy Giuliani, Jack Welch, and many of the top financial experts in the country. And Mike has identified groundbreaking opportunities for investors to acquire $1 million business without using any of their own money. I mean, it's phenomenal. And also without using any of their own credit or getting a loan from a lender either. That's what shocked me. And I mean, his system, it's revolutionary, and it's completely different from any other system I've ever seen, because it includes, the zero money down methods that no one else actually utilized for or discovered in this industry. And Mike has invented a unique way of acquiring businesses using this leveraged buyout technique, which is similar to the no money down techniques that, real estate investors use. Now, it's phenomenal, because what you're about to learn is how to acquire multiple cash generating businesses from what he calls a don't wanter, owners that don't want their businesses anymore and just want to find a way out. And you're going to take that and turn it into cash for yourself to be able to make a lot of money. And that is why this system is so unique. And finally, I know that this has been a long intro, but it's one of the most powerful parts. Mike has reserved some of his, what I call secret techniques or strategies, for usually only his inner circle. And that until today, bottom line is I really twisted his arm, and he's going to reveal something that he typically hasn't shared with the general public before, because I shared with him the MMM members that around the world are, of course, wanting their own business opportunity, and he's agreed at the end of the event, at the end of the webinar, to share a few of those with you guys. So definitely want to stay on until the end of the event. So definitely grab a pen and a piece of paper. You're going to want to take some amazing notes. Turn off the television. Put the pacifier in the kid's mouth. Make sure that you crank up your attention, pay very, very close attention for what you're about to learn from Mr. Mike Warren. And Mike, I'm going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
Well, cool. Thank you very much, Robert. And, folks, I'm really excited about being here on this presentation. I'm really looking forward to helping all of you make some really great money here, in this unique and little-known market that I'm about to share with you. It's going to be really, really powerful. And I'm even going to give, a select few people, like I mentioned earlier, actually over $8,000 of free education at the end. So I really want to encourage everyone to stay to the end. I promise you, with this information, you will actually learn the secret to owning $1 million business with no money down and getting a six-figure salary from the company from the moment that you buy it. And ultimately, I'm really talking about more freedom, more time, and more money to live the life that you want and that you deserve. And for a select few, It will be a beginning of a long-term and very prosperous relationship between you and me, and I'll explain what I mean by that here in a few minutes. Now, I do have to mention, I do have a very important call right after we're done, but I'll try to make a little bit of time so we can actually take some questions from the audience at the end here. So let me just put on my headset and we'll get started. So everybody hang on just a second while I do my headset. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see me and sees the screen okay. So let's kind of jump into this. And one of the things that I have to do, this is something that our attorneys make us do right off the bat, is I have to tell you we're not lawyers or accountants or financial planners. So I'm not giving any legal or accounting advice. I'm also not making any guarantees about how much money somebody's going to make, right? So we have to be really careful about that. I want you to understand that the examples that we use in numbers, they're just for example's sake so that you understand how it works. And the question that you really have to ask yourself, if you look at the bottom of the screen there, it says the question that you really ask yourself is, are you going to be like the average person who takes no action and gets no results? Or are you going to be a person like me and some of my own students who take action and they get results? Well, you're on this call for a reason, so I assume that you're the type of person that likes to get results and you'll take action. So you're going to love what I'm about to share with you. So as we get started, and as I share with you how anybody, right, regardless of your education, regardless of your financial situation, regardless of your background, regardless of where you live, that you can buy companies anywhere in the world. Now, I prefer them to be English-speaking countries, but that's just me because I really only speak English. I speak a little bit of German, tiny bit of Spanish, but not much else. So let's talk about briefly, though, who this is for. This is for you if you enjoy being your own boss. This is for you if you want more control over your time and your destiny. And this is for you if you enjoy having the power to make any business successful. This is for you if you love the excitement of making a deal. I love that. And this is for you if you want to pass on a business as a legacy. So if that fits you in any of those, then you are in the right place at the right time right now to be listening what I'm about to share with you, because this is, well, it's really a game changer for a lot of people once they understand this. But it's also important for me to talk about who this is not for. This is not for people who are broke or struggling financially. What I mean by that is when somebody's broke or they're really struggling just to make a mortgage or credit card payment, they end up making bad decisions when it comes to buying companies. Now, even though we're buying a company with none of our own money, we're structuring a deal, somebody that's really just strapped for cash will make short-term decisions that will affect them long-term. And that's not who I want to be one of my partners or learn how to do this business, because it's just not who I want to do business with. It's also not for whiners and complainers, right? You're going to have cynics and skeptics. A skeptic is somebody who just says, "Hey, I need more information to learn how to do what I want to do." And a cynic is just somebody who's going to complain and whine and say that it's never going to work and finds every reason in the world why something won't work. And it's also not for people who have perpetual questions and never take action. Nothing frustrates me more than somebody asking for my help, and because my way of being is that I want to serve others first. So if somebody asks me for help and I give them help and I show them what to do and they don't take any action on it, it really frustrates me, because I think my time had no value to them and they just abused my time, and I don't like that. And it's also not for people who want something for nothing, what I call the lottery mentality, where you want to give me $1 and you want me to go buy the lottery ticket for you, and when you make $150 million, it's all yours, right? It's like, yeah, I don't want that either, right? So we want people who are willing to take action on what they're doing. Now, this screen that I'm showing you here, you may notice the background. This background is actually Greece, because I want to share with you this company just to kind of jump into it really fast. This is a company that was based in Greece, and here's some of the numbers, right? This was a video animation company that does all these little, hand cartoon videos that you may see online where little hands drawing a cartoon. It does that kind of stuff. Well, they were selling this company for $300,000. It had gross revenues of $300,000, had net profit of $150,000, and it had no assets. Now, let me change my pen here real quick. Now, you may notice that this $150,000, right, they're selling it for 2 times the net. Now, when you buy and sell companies, you sell them based on a multiple of either the gross revenue or the net revenue. In this case, they were selling at 2 times the net profit. 2 times 150 is 300,000. That's what they were selling for. And by the way, buying and selling companies is the only thing in the entire world where you sell things based on a multiple. It doesn't work in any other industry. It doesn't work in real estate. It doesn't work in marketing. It only works in buying and selling companies, the world of Wall Street. So what I ended up doing with this particular company is I actually got half ownership in this company, no cash out of my pocket in order to do it. So my purchase price is here. I had zero money into this deal because what I talked to them about, I said, okay, look, you're a company, you're doing great. You can sell for $300,000, but what if we step in, we use some of our proprietary systems. I use my relational capital to bring in the right people that know how to market your company and get more sales to you, that we can triple your revenue. Well, here's the best part, right? We actually have been able to grow the company. We've grown it to $450,000 a year. So we've taken the net profit from $150 to $450. So now, because we've shown such rocket growth, we can actually sell it at a multiple of 4x, which means right now we could sell this company for $1.8 million. Now, how much money did I put into it? Nothing. I got it for nothing because what I did is I got the existing owner to stay in the company. They are running the company. And by the way, when we have other people who do the work on behalf of this company, who pays them? Is it me or is it the company? It's the company that pays them, not me, right? So one of the things I really want you to understand is we're buying companies no money down. We are outsourcing all the work to somebody else, to the experts who already know how to make these companies grow. The company that we're buying actually pays for it, using its profits to pay for it. And in this case, not only did I get 50% equity, but I got $2,500 a month as management fee. Now, here's something I want you to also think about. I happen to like to travel. So the company, they flew me and my family over to Greece, first class. They rented a house on the beach in order to close this transaction for me to step in and do this deal with them. So I got half equity of the company. I got $2,500 a month. And right now, if we sold it, I could pocket $900,000. So here's a quick question for you. How many of you would like to travel and make the profits like I'm doing, that you'd like to do this deal? Could you do me a favor, use your question answer box that you see there and tell me if you would like to have this kind of a deal, right? And just a little bit of feedback is really helpful for me as we kind of go through here. But if you think about it, right, here's a company, and by the way, the company that you buy doesn't have to be in the same state or county or country that you live in. You choose a country that you want to go in. For me, I want the country to be English speaking so that I can talk to the employees, I can talk to the owner, and I don't have a language barrier between me and them. Now, that's my preference. You may speak a different language, and that's great. And yeah, I see a lot of sure's, yes, duh. Sounds like a sweet deal. So I'm seeing lots of people just talking about it. And so they're great deals, folks, all around the world. It doesn't matter where you are, because here's one other thing I want to point out. I don't actually have to see the company. I flew out there because they were willing to pay for it. It was essentially a free vacation for me and my family for a week in Greece. It was great. I got to travel around, all expenses paid, food, hotel, entertainment, everything was paid for by the company. I got equity, and now I could pocket $900,000 if I chose to sell it, but we're not, because I think we can take it to $1 million a year in revenue, which means, guess what? That'll be worth $4 million, $5 million. I can make a whole lot more. So just kind of give you an idea. So here's a question I want to ask you. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have the Midas touch, where everything that you touch literally turns to gold? If you knew for a fact that you had the people around you. Now, here's something that's really important for you to grasp this concept right off the bat. I'm not expecting you to go into a company and work in a company. In fact, I totally don't want you to do that at all. However, I want you to learn, and I'll show you how we do this, right, is that you're essentially going to let other people who already have the expertise in the company that you're buying, and no, you don't have to have expertise in that company. I buy companies. We have trucking companies. We have lighting companies. We have boating companies. We have e-commerce. We have vitamin companies. We have oil companies, medical practice, law practice, dental companies. Oh, geez, the list just goes on and on. I'm just kind of stopping right there at the moment. But any different industry, what I care about is, does the company have good growth potential? Does it make money? And does it have the ability to pay the experts that we need to bring in to take them to the next level? So that's what I'm looking for. So if you had the ability to go in and do that, would you have value in the marketplace? In other words, would companies say, I need to work with you. Tell me what we need to do. What do I need to do to get you to work with me? Because even if they gave up half their company or sold the company to you, you still have enough profit to hire the other people, not you, okay? You're not coming out of your pockets, coming out of the business, to pay other people to grow the company and manage it for you. So that ultimately, you can be like this couple where you're sitting, or in this case, laying in a hammock on the beach. You're making income passively. So while you're on the beach, your company is making money for you. And one of the things I think is really important is this, okay? And this is one of these things that you really should write down. is while I'm talking about buying a company, $1 million company, no money down, no credit, and quitting your job, right? That's kind of the basics of what we're talking about. I do not want you to buy a company. Now, the reason I say that is because I want you to actually buy 4 companies. So you may see the big tree here. That's a big company. Then you got a medium company, and you have a slightly smaller company and a smaller company. If you have 4 companies, well, you can't work in any one of them. If you only buy one, you may have the urge or the tendency or the desire to work in that one company to solve a problem. And I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is be like a chairman of $1 billion company where you have multiple divisions. Well, you're not going to work in any one of these companies. You're essentially going to make sure the people who are under you are doing what they're supposed to do. Well, a true business owner, when you reach ultimate wealth, your businesses are throwing cash off to you on a regular basis. So imagine you have 4 companies or 4 giant money trees that are throwing cash off to you on a regular basis, and you're sitting on the beach, regardless of where you are. The companies pay for everything. You're making cash. Somebody else manages it for you. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's the right way that we should be going. Most people, though, they just don't know how to do it. Even the company that you buy, they don't know how to do this stuff either, because if they did, they'd do it. That's why there's so many great opportunities. So you're about to discover how to be a business trading specialist or a business turnaround specialist, however you want to call it, right? I'm going to give you 4 keys to $1 million no money down deal. I'm also going to show you how to get paid anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 a month while somebody else runs that business for you. Now imagine that you own 4 companies, each one throwing you off $5,000 a month. How much is that? Well, that's $20,000 a month that's coming in passive income while somebody else grows these companies so that you could sell them for a 7 and sometimes an 8-figure payday. I mean, so if it's a big enough company, you can do what's called a reverse merger or an IPO and actually take the thing public and then sell it for even more. And I'll talk about some of these deals as we go through. So I've got a lot of case studies to go through. I have some examples. I'm going to show you how we break it all down. I'm also going to show you how you sell that business for 3 times more than it's worth today, and ultimately how you need to think about this business, because the way that you think is very, very important, because you are not doing the work. I don't care about your education. I don't care about your experience. I don't care about how much money you have in the bank. It's about putting the right teams around you. Now, if you want to use my teams, great, you can, and I'll talk about why that's one of the reasons I'm here, is because I'm really looking for partners, people that want to find companies that we can buy together, and you can use my teams to put the whole thing together. I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So now I do encourage everybody to stay to the end, because 1, I got a special bonus for you, and 2, I'm going to try to take some actual questions from everybody. So if you have questions as we're going along, excuse me, I have a little sore throat there. If you have questions, just use your question answer box. I'll try to answer them as I go along, or certainly try to answer them at the end. And even after the call's over, I'll have somebody from my office make sure that they're answering all the questions, okay? So let's kind of jump into this. Why do you want to become a turnaround specialist or a business trading specialist? Well, I think for a lot of people, it's about freedom. Now, freedom can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Some people, it means having a big money dynasty. Others, it's about having a lot of money in the bank so you can do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and money's no longer the object. For some people, it's about having assets that go up and up and up in value on a regular basis. Well, you're in the right spot right now, in that we have a combination of 5 different things that have created really the perfect opportunity in history that has never existed for us before. I've been buying companies since the 80s, and it's never existed the way that it has right now, which has made this perfect opportunity. And so I'll go through these 5, and then I'll show you with different case studies on how we actually do it and why it makes sense. So the first thing is credit's dried up. And this is a worldwide phenomenon, a worldwide problem. You may go to the bank, you may have assets, you may have good credit, and you try to borrow money. What does the bank say? Well, they say no, because they're just not lending. They say they're lending, but they're not lending. You and I, we both know that. You talk to other companies. So if it's hard to get money as an individual, do you think it's hard as a business which has no real assets, but they have cash flow to get money? Absolutely. It's very difficult. We also have the real estate crisis. Now, this is also a worldwide phenomenon. Property values have gone down. Some places are stabilized and some places are starting to go back up, but a lot of people lost a lot of money in real estate. We also have more competition than ever before, thanks to the internet. The internet is great or disastrous depending upon what side of the fence you're looking at. For me, when I look at a company, I use the internet as a way to grow the company regardless of its size, because I can compete now against these Fortune 500 companies, and I can make myself look really big. I can reach more audiences. I can do it on the cheap, and I can really increase my profits. Come on, mouse. Let's go. Here we go. Bankruptcies. Personal and corporate bankruptcies are higher than they've ever been in our entire history. More people are going bankrupt now, and so are corporations. The fifth thing is baby boomers. Now, here's some statistics for you. Right now, just in America alone, there's 10,000 baby boomers a day that are retiring. Out of that 10,000, 18% of them have a small business that they need to sell right now. But the sad fact is that 85% of those 18%, 85% of them just shut their doors and walk away. Even though the company's profitable, even though it's making money, even though they have employees, they simply walk away because they want to retire. And I'll give you a couple of examples of deals that we bought just like that. So this whole baby boomer thing, this is an opportunity that's changing the wealth. These baby boomers, when they're retiring, they're like, look, I'm out of here. Yeah, it's making money or not. I saved money. It's time for me to relax and not work. I'm just going to shut the doors. So they literally walk away because they don't know how to sell the company. Sometimes they think their company isn't worth much, and they'd rather just walk away from it. Well, here's some interesting statistics. Look at this. 40% of small businesses that are out there right now are profitable. 30% are at break even, and 30% are continually losing money. On top of that, 50% of small businesses fail within the first year, and 95% of them fail within the first 5 years. That's a disaster waiting to happen. But it's also an opportunity for you and me to step in and create some true wealth. I mean, wealth that is retirement kind of wealth, where you just throw your cell phone in the water because guess what? You're retired because you make that kind of money. I'm not talking about making an extra $5,000 a month. Yeah, that's great. I'm talking about true wealth. And let me show you this, right? Look at this screen. If you were to go into Google and you type in business for sale, so I just did this, and I came up with, look at how many zeros there are there, right? Look at those numbers. That's 1.56 billion results by typing in the word business for sale. Now, I could also type in business for sale Australia, business for sale Canada, business for sale Colorado, business for sale California, business for sale by owner. And actually, you know what? That brings up a great question. Would you all do me a favor, please? Use your question and answer box and tell me where you're from, what state you're from, or what country you're from. Because I know we have people from different areas. Just use your question and answer box there and let me know where you're from. So I got Seattle, we got Texas, we got Dallas, Tacoma, Seattle, we got Australia, we got Canada, we got BC, British Columbia, we got New York, we got Tempe, Arizona, that is, we got Fort Lauderdale, we got Denver, gosh, we got them all over the place. We got one here from the UK, Tennessee, Minnesota, Sydney. Okay, so yeah, we got those. We have people from all over the world, and this stuff works any country because the processes are the same. The ideas are the same. The way to grow the companies are the same. Every company, every successful company operates the same way. The same underlying foundation of how they operate is the same. The product or service is the only thing that they sell at the front end that changes, but the way they operate is the same. Most companies don't know how to actually run properly. They can take it to a certain level, but they don't know how do they triple the profit from there? They don't know how to get there. Well, let me kind of give you an idea, make a comparison between, for instance, right now, real estate. And by the way, let me do this. So as I get into this, I would like to kind of ask this question as well. Could you tell me whether or not, or what you do for a living, right? What is your full-time regular job? Now, some of you may be retired. Some of you may be real estate agents, some of you may be investors, some of you may be doctors, lawyers, dentists, engineers, consultants, admin, I don't know, right? But, give me an idea of kind of what it is that you guys do. Use your question and answer box. I'm just curious to see. So let's see, I see a general manager, massage therapist, high-tech capital printer sales, residual, MLM income, financial services, real estate agent, lawyer, a doctor, consultant, fork truck driver, construction manager. Cool. Okay. So we got a lot of different people. Electrical technician. Okay, cool. So we got a lot of different people. So I want to use real estate as an example. Now, some of you may have heard that more millionaires are made in real estate. Well, I want to show you why that is. I mean, while you can make real estate and make $1 million with it, I want to show you why that's a lot of effort. And if you follow what I'm about to teach you, how it might change your mind. So let's kind of go through these numbers. In real estate, you can actually buy, even in today's market, you can buy property, no money down. So let's say you buy this small house, $100,000 house, and you buy it 10% down or even no money down, which is actually not hard to do. You turn around and then you rent it out. And let's say you get a positive cash flow on that property of $200 a month. And then let's say 3 years down the road, the property is appreciated in value. Now you sell it for $130,000. Well, if you look at your positive cash flow, right, you've got $200 a month times years means you got $7,200 in positive cash flow. So we look at the number down here, $7,200 plus the difference in what we bought the property for versus what we sell it for. That's $30,000 profit. So we make a combined $37,200 in profit. Now, on a small house like that, that's a pretty good profit. And that's why a lot of people do real estate, because they're like, wow, okay, I made $37,000. Well, I want to show you the difference on a business deal. Because when I go out and I buy a business, now here's some guidelines I look for. So you might want to write these down. Okay, I look for, on average, $1 million business. I'll take businesses as low as $100,000, and I'll take businesses, over $10 million. But let's take the sweet spot's about $1 million. Look for a company that's doing about 30% profit per year. So 30% profit in this case, that's doing about $25,000 a month in positive cash flow. Now, every company that I buy, I look at, well, I want to grow this company, and my minimum growth is I want to triple the profit. I want to 3x or triple the profit of that company. So if a company's doing $1 million a year and 30% profit, that's $300,000. So I want to literally triple that profit from $300,000 to $900,000. That's the minimum. We typically get way more than that, but that's the minimum for me to look at the deal and say, okay, do I want to take this deal? Now, it could be a $100,000 company making $30,000 a year profit. Depends on the deal that we're looking at. So let's say we triple the profit of the company. We turn around, we sell this company for $3 million in 3 years. So it normally takes us 2 to 3 or anywhere from 18 to 24 months to grow it, and we sell it in months 24 to 36, and we sell it off. So our cash flow, our $900,000 is $25,000 a month times 12 months times 3 years. It means we get $900,000 a month in cash flow, right? That's down here. And we look at our $2 million profit, the difference between the $1 million we bought it for, the $3 million we sold it for. We have a $2 million profit, so we make $2.9 million. Now, that's actually $2,860,000 more than the house for the same time period. What I mean by that is the same amount of time it takes you to find a house, negotiate the house, renovate the house, lease the house out, manage the house, and then ultimately sell the house is the same amount of time it takes me to do one business. So another way of putting it is you're going to have to do 97 houses to make the same amount of money that I will by doing one business flip. So here's a question for you. Which one would you rather do? Right? The same amount of time and same amount of effort. Now, keep in mind, the business that you buy here, no money down, you are not running the company. Well, actually, let me restate that. You were running the company, but you're not working in the company. Somebody else is managing it. You're just making sure they're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So give me a little feedback there. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the house flip, or would you rather have the business flip? Which one would you rather do, right? Would you rather buy and grow and sell a company, let somebody else do the work for you? Or would you rather buy and do the rental property? So, okay, yeah, I'm seeing a couple of people said no brainer, business flip, business. So everybody's in agreement. Good, because I am too. So you will learn what I call the 4 keys to a successful $1 million, no money down business here, and we're going to go through that. Now, later in the presentation, I'm going to show you how I will pay you upfront to find deals, because I'm looking to buy deals. I want to buy them as many as I can, and I'll pay you $20,000 upfront for every deal that I buy, and I'll go into the details of that a little bit later, more specifically, and kind of walk you through it. But if you want to do nothing more than simply look for deals and find deals, or talk to people that, hey, you can sell your company for more than it's worth today, if you give that information to us, we'll pay you $20,000. Now, that's phenomenal. Or you could also partner with us if you want to, and I'll talk about that later. Now, I do have a top secret last minute surprise that I'm going to add here at the end, so I want you to really stay tuned with that as well. But right now, I really want to kind of talk about my story for a second to give you some background as to how I got started in this business, because I didn't start out with my parents knowing how to buy and sell companies. In fact, my dad was in the military. He was in the Army. So I was an Army brat growing up. I didn't have any experience. My dad didn't have a college education. And I started out in real estate. And I was buying and doing fixers, flippers, wholesale, retail. I was doing foreclosure property. I was doing Section 8. I was doing some apartments. I was doing everything, right? And I started actually in 1985. I was doing really, really good. But one of the things I noticed is that every time I did a deal, I had to do another deal in order to keep the machine moving. I constantly had to do deal after deal after deal. I didn't have any passive income coming in. So I remember I ended up talking to my mentor once, and I said, hey, I'm having this problem that I'm doing really, really well at real estate. I'm obviously successful. I'm making a lot of money with it, but I need to find places where I can invest my money, where the money is going to work for me so that I can get some passive income, because right now I can't take a vacation. I'm working really hard. I'm going to school at night because it was something that I wanted to do. But if I don't work, I don't make any money. So I need something else to do. So my mentor, he starts talking about some ideas, and he says, well, one of his ideas was, well, why don't you just invest in the stock market? And I said, well, I don't know much about, the stock market, but okay, if you endorse it, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. So I went out to every seminar, and I bought every single course, and I started studying and learning everything I could about the stock market. And oh man, things were great, folks. I was investing in commodities and options and Forex and you name it. The more risky the investment, the better I was doing, because I love the thrill and the art of making that deal and cashing in. And I was watching the market all day, every day, and I was doing really good. And then October 19th, 1987 happened. The market crashed. Now, folks, I want you to imagine something, because that day that the market crashed was literally my dark night of the soul, the darkest night of my soul. Because what happened is, at the end of the day, I had lost everything I owned. It was gone in one day. Now, let me explain what I mean by that, and kind of tell you what happened. That morning, all of a sudden, the market started crashing. And I started calling my broker, sell, 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 sell. But I'm not getting an answer. I'm leaving messages. Nobody's returning my phone calls. But I start getting phone calls from their office saying that I have margin call. They sold these assets to pay off this stuff. They were selling off my good stuff to pay off the bad stuff. They weren't liquidating the bad stuff to cut my losses. At the end of the day, folks, not only did I lose everything I had, I was in the hole by over $500,000. I lost everything. Now, I don't know how you all would feel, but man, I was an emotional wreck, because I lost everything in one day. What I noticed, though, is that my broker, who never returned any of my calls, I noticed that he got a commission on every one of those sales, and yet he wasn't returning my calls. Now, I don't know, the phrase kind of like fit to be tied. I mean, I was beyond myself for several days. I remember that I finally picked up the phone. I called my mentor, and I started talking about what happened and how the broker wouldn't answer my calls and how I lost all my money. And my mentor, he just says, stop. He says, Mike, just come down to my office. And I'm like, well, okay, fine. I'll go down. We'll talk about it there. So I get in the car. I drive down to his office. I walk into his office. I sit in a chair in front of his desk, and I start talking about how my broker screwed me over. He didn't he didn't answer the calls. He didn't place any of the orders that I wanted, how I lost everything. And my mentor, he literally screamed, stop. He screams at the top of his lungs, stop. I'm like, what? He said, Mike, nobody cares. Get over it. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. He says, and I start going into what happened and everything. He says, stop, Mike, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I'm like, but you don't understand. He says, it doesn't matter. I'm like, but. And so we went in this butt back and forth thing, where I'm trying to explain what's going on. He's like, listen, Mike, stop. He says, do you have your health? I said, yeah, I have my health. He says, Mike, do you know how to make money? I said, of course I know how to make money. He says, then get over it. You cannot change the past, but you can control your future. You can decide what you're going to do. You can make more money. You can start over. You can dig yourself out of this hole. And so it was really kind of that turning point for me, because with my mentor, all of a sudden, he started talking about different things. And I said, well, what can I do? I don't know what to do, because I'm obviously not going to take the money that I can make in real estate. Yeah, I can go back to real estate, but now I'm back into that rat wheel, or the hamster wheel again, just, doing deal after deal after deal. I got to do something different. And he says, well, why don't you do one of the things I do, which is to buy and sell companies? I said, well, what do you mean buy and sell companies? He says, Mike, I buy and sell companies, and I do a lot of the stuff, no money down, kind of like what you're doing with real estate. And my very first question I asked him, I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that before? And he says, Mike, I did, but you didn't want to listen. Because, folks, I wasn't ready to hear what he had to say. But now, after I'd lost everything, I'd fallen all the way to the bottom, I was finally ready to listen. And so that's how I got started. He started to teach me and show me that I could take the techniques that I've already learned in real estate of how to do these deals, no money down, and structure these deals and essentially leverage a property. I could leverage a business. So every time, if I was talking about real estate, if I replaced the word real estate with business, guess what? It was the same thing. So I've learned how to do these leverage buyouts, or essentially use the assets of a business in order to buy the business itself. End up having the business free and clear, no money out of my pocket, and I get somebody else to run it, and it throws off cash. And so that's how I got started on this business, or on this trail. And it's really afforded me a lifestyle that I can't beat. I get to spend time with my family. I get to give back to charities, because one of my things is, I think I mentioned earlier, is that I want to serve others first. So I'm a big believer in giving to St. Jude's Hospital for Children, working with Doctors Without Borders, because I want to give back. I want to pay it forward. And that's one of the things I want to do here today, is also show you how you can change your financial future by doing something a little bit different. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter and surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you are, and can do this work that you need the companies to be able to do. So you essentially outsource it to somebody else. That's what I've gotten really good at. I have relational capital. I know where to go to get things done. And you all now have the ability to be able to tap into my network, my relational capital, my resources, and get these same kinds of deals. Because when you're in the business buying and selling game, business flipping game, you get to associate with some pretty cool people. And now imagine this for a second. Imagine you go to a party or you go to a networking event, and people say, well, you know, who are you? What do you do? And you say, hey, I buy and sell companies. Now, assuming that you're not at a private equity group, what do you think? Do you think you're the only person at that event that buys and sells companies? I bet you are. And almost every event that I go to, I find at least one company where somebody says they want to sell, they want my help. In fact, they will pay me. They will pay you to take their equity in those companies to help them grow, because they're stuck. They don't know how to take it to the next level. They're successful where they're at, but they don't know how to go any further. I mean, and what I mean by further is, how do they triple it really quick versus get 5% or 10% growth per year? I don't want 10% growth. I want a 300% growth. I don't want 10%. There's a big difference in that. And so most people don't know how to do that. So a question that I have for you also is, come on, mouse. Here we go. Is, what dreams do you have? What are your dreams? Do you want to travel around the world? Do you want to go on a cruise around the world? Do you want to be kind of like Robin Williams was in the movie RV? You know, and I love that movie when it came out several years ago, and he was taking his RV in places where it never should go. Well, I love the RV. I like to take the family and the dog, and we hop in the RV and we go travel around the country, and I get to just experience everything, and I get to experience it with my kids. Well, maybe you're also one that wants to give back to your community. For me, I want to serve others first. So it does mean giving back to my community, helping with charities, helping with my time, helping with money if it's needed, building schools, building orphanages, whatever it needs to be, helping with hospitals. I don't know. As long as I can make a difference in the world, because folks, it's not about the money. You can't take the money with you. Yes, do you need to make enough money to support yourself and change your lifestyle so you can have a lifestyle? Absolutely. I'm not talking about having a high-paying job. That is not what I'm talking about at all. What I'm talking about is having a lifestyle so that you can do the things you want to do, when you want to do, with the people you want to do, and money is no longer the object. So it really gives you that freedom again. So I ended up creating a program, and just tell you about it real quick, is I created a program called the Turnaround Secrets of the Wealthy, and that really helps people, allows me to pay it forward to teach you these secrets that I use to actually go out there and buy, grow, and sell these companies. Now, today, I'm going to give a bonus here at the end that's worth $11,982 in real-world value. I'll tell you more about that later, but I just want to give you a hint that that, in fact, is coming up. So let's jump into your 4 keys to a successful $1 million business. Now, key number 1 is to evaluate the business, evaluate the deal. So it's about finding deals. Well, when I typed in business for sale in Google, I got 1.5 billion results. There's plenty of deals out there, not only by doing research on the internet. And by the way, I want to also say this. We're actually working on some software right now that's in beta testing. So get this, folks. We created some software, this is really good, that I can type in some keywords. I can choose the state that I want or the country that I want, and it will go out and scour the internet and find those deals for me and populate them for me, so I know exactly which deals I want to look for. Now, how many of you think that having software like that in your own back pocket would help you do deals? Do you think that would be very helpful for you? Yeah, and that's one of those things where, you know, yes, you want the software, or no, you want to do it on your own kind of thing. But I'm in beta testing on the software that allows us to do that. And for some of my partners, I'm also giving them that software so that they can use it to find more deals themselves. So it's also about analyzing, working smart, and figuring out the growth potential of a company and figuring out where business needs help. What I mean by that is, let's take a look specifically at growth potential. Let's say that you brought me a pet store, and you know that my minimum requirement for growth on a company in order to consider is I want to triple its profit. Well, how do you triple the profit of a pet store? Well, I don't know either. Okay, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I don't want to go and start new locations, right? All that's going to do is triple my debt starting a new location. But there's no real way to grow a pet store. So I'm looking at companies that need a little bit of help, but have really high growth potential. So I'm trying to find out, what deals I want to keep, what deals I want to get rid of. So throwing out the junk, I want to make sure that I can buy these things at the right percentage. So I look for a company that's doing about 30% per year in profit. If it's doing 10% a year, I may look at it, but I want to know, why is it only doing 10%? It could be because the owner is pulling out too much cash out of the business for his own private piggy bank. If that's the case, then I can rework that company and I can still solve it. But I want to see there being about 30% in profit. And the primary reason for that is, if it's making a profit, then it has the money in place in order to pay all the experts that we need to bring in order to triple that company's profit. Right? So if it's already making money, that means there's money to pay for it. It means they're already doing some things right, but they haven't taken advantage of all the things that they need to do in order to make it truly grow, which, when you evaluate the deal properly, it allows you to get paid big money to find some of these deals. You ultimately learn how to spot a deal in about 60 seconds, about working less, having more fun, more freedom, more time, less headaches. And here's something that I really encourage you to write this down, okay? And it goes like this. The less I do, the more I make. So the less you do, the more you will make. So it's not, again, about working hard. It's about putting the right teams around you. Maybe that's partnering with me on a deal. Great. I would love to do that. You find a deal, let's partner, use my teams, do the work. We both profit. So it's about doing less and making more. Now, here's a case study. This came in from Mary. Mary saying, Mike, we just did our first deal, and we're now receiving an immediate $2,500 a month or $30,000 a year as a management fee, and more deals on the way. Now, Mary, when she was a single mother at the time, and when she wrote it in, she had a regular job, but she was very concerned about having something that was too complicated because she didn't have any experience in the business that she was doing. So she brought us in. We helped organize this thing. She's now getting $2,500 a month as a management fee on top of her job. Now think about that, folks. What could that mean for you? Yeah, that's not $5,000, but $2,500 a month. That's a great start. That's another $30,000 a year. What would you do with that? Well, hopefully, the answer that I would like you to say, I mean, one is pay off your bills, of course, but the real answer is go out and do it again. Get another company. That's what I'd really like you to do. So I want to talk about this deal. This is a construction company. Now, I mentioned earlier that I'll buy companies around the world. So we buy them in Australia, United Kingdom, South Africa, I think I said Australia, Canada, Mexico, all over the U.S. We'll buy them everywhere. So this particular small construction company, it was actually based in Canada. Now, the company itself was for sale for $750,000. It had gross revenues of $1.2 million. It was doing net profit of about $300,000 and had assets of about $150,000. Now, one of the things that I found interesting about this deal is when I talked to the owner, it was a couple, a husband and wife team. They had owned this construction company for 30 years and they were getting set to retire. Now, they had already picked a date of when they were going to move from Canada. They were going to move all the way down to Florida, and that's where they were going to live. They were going to retire. And they told me, they said, Mike, if we don't sell this company, we are going to shut it down. We are going to walk away. Now, folks, look at this. They're making $300,000 a year. Now, why on earth would somebody walk away from a company that's doing $300,000 a year? Why would they walk away, close the doors, and just go to Florida and retire? The answer is because they don't want it. They don't want the business anymore. To them, it's a headache. They've already been saving their money for years. Now they're finally ready to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They want to retire. They want to be together, and they want to take it easy. So the idea of retirement is a massive pull for them. They're a baby boomer, okay? Just like the 10,000 I was talking about here in America, 10,000 a day. They're a baby boomer. They want to walk away from this deal. Well, here's what we actually ended up buying it for. We bought this company for $85,000. So I paid $85,000 in cash, and we paid for it up front. Now, I know you might be saying, oh, wait a minute, Mike, you said buy it with no money. Well, here's the thing. I found somebody had an IRA that we could pay 10% interest to in their IRA, that we would borrow the money and we would secure it against $150,000 in assets. They lent us the money, and it was on a 1-year note. So we're paying interest only for a year. And that's how we structured it. And we had $85,000. So I had no money out of my pocket. I borrowed the money from somebody else. I made no personal guarantees on this. Now look at my net profit. I'm making $300,000 a year in net profit. How long does it take me to pay off the $85,000? It takes about 4 months to pay it off, but we actually took about 6 months because I didn't want to use all the cash in order to do it. But once we paid it off, we own the company free and clear. Well, here's the best part. We've grown the company now to over $900,000. Because we've grown it so fast, we can now sell it at a 5 multiple, in this case, based on the industry, in its location, everything else. And folks, guess what? We've already had an offer for the company for $4.5 million. Think about that. $4.5 million. How much of my money went into this deal? Zero. But we bought it for 85, right? But we own it free and clear. So we're going to walk away with $4.5 million. And one of the great things is, because our teams, we have some of the best financial planners and accountants in the world. We can sell this company and take that $4.5 million and pay no taxes on it. So there are ways of doing that as well. We know how to exit out of these deals very profitably. So let me ask you this. How many of you would like to have been part of this deal, to have had this deal, right? It's not a massive company. It's a company that's got employees. And here's something I want to point out. I don't know anything about construction. Right? I mean, I know that, yeah, you build a house, you got hammers, you got plumbing, you got electrical, you got stuff like that, but I don't know anything about it. In fact, I've never been to the company in Canada where there's a manager and a foreman on site. They run it, they do the bidding, they do the estimation, and we give them profit sharing out of the company. So they're making money too, and they're incentivized, but they run it for us, and we make money. Right now, we could sell it for $4.5 million, but I think we can raise it up a little bit more, and then we'll sell it off. I want to get it to about $6 million and then turn around and sell it. Now, think about that. You would have no money in this deal, and you turn around and sell it for $4.5 to $6 million. That's not a bad way to go. And I see a whole lot of yeses. A lot of people say, yeah, they'd like this deal. So key number 2 is to buy it right. So it's about not overpaying and making sure you evaluate the numbers so that you're structuring a zero money down or zero money out of your pocket. Either way, what I don't want you to ever do is to use your money, your credit cards, your retirement accounts. I don't want you to do any of that. I also don't want you to sign personally and give any guarantees for any of these deals. The risk that you have in doing these deals is you have some time out of your pocket. That's what you have out of your pocket, is your time. So you will invest your time to structure the deal. They get the right people around it, but you get paid in order to make that happen. So you get, you want to be concerned about the cash flow, making sure you look at tax planning and your exit strategy, so that if you structure correctly, you could then sell the company for a massive profit later and pay no taxes on it. So not only do you get the cash flow, you get all that growth, and you sell it for that 7 or even an 8-figure payday down the road, and you're still making money with it. Now, there's so many different ways of exiting out of these deals. It's crazy, but it's about, really, from my perspective, making it bulletproof safe when you go into these deals. So the sellers will ultimately pay you to take their equity. You get to receive the equity, and you get a 6-figure annual salary from the business from the moment that you bought the business, and you never have to visit the business. These are some important things for me. I think they're probably important to you as well. Here's a letter. This came in from Laura, another case study, saying, Mike, I just finished a deal. I'm now receiving 51% equity with none of my own money. They pay me $5,000 a month to put teams into place, just like you showed me, to grow the company so it could be sold at a huge profit. Now, Laura, her thing is that she loved her job, but she hated her boss. She didn't like her boss. She thought her boss was a big jerk. But she liked her job. So she didn't want added responsibility on top of what she was already doing with her job. So we structured the deal. We helped her with this thing. She's now getting $5,000 a month. And now she's looking at doing another company. She thinks she wants to have 3 companies paying her. So she's making $15,000 a month before she says she's going to feel comfortable to actually quit her job. So, folks, I want to point something out really fast. I don't encourage anybody to ever quit their job. Right? Keep your job, keep your income until you feel at the point where you're making enough money to really replace your income on a multiple of whatever you're making, so that you know that you're super comfortable. So key number 3 is about how to boom a business. Well, it's really about outsourcing and delegation. So when I outsource things, I know, and I've had to do this through trial and error to figure out the right kinds of teams in different industries that know how to take a company from one level to the next level. The next level is not a 10% increase. The next level is a 300% increase, or 500 or 600% increase in profitability. Well, those companies need to be paid in order to do that work. They're not going to work for free. Well, guess what? When we buy a company that's already profitable, think about that. When you start a company from scratch, you have to do everything. Not only do you have to fund everything, but you have to be the salesperson, you have to be the manager, you have to be the technician, you have to be the website person, you have to be the person that does all the mailings, that answers sales calls, that empties the trash. You have to do everything, and you're taking all that risk. Well, when we go in and we buy a company that we can buy literally with no money out of our pocket to buy it. We get somebody else to manage it because we outsource and we delegate, and we put in automation and systems that work, and we use the right sales and marketing strategies. Guess what? We get to be the chairman, and we get to run it like $1 billion company. Now you may remember I said I don't want you to buy one company. How many do I want you to buy? I want you to buy 4 companies, because if you own 4, you can't work in any one of those companies, which is the perfect thing. So ultimately it means bigger money, less work, faster cash flow, less stress, and a whole lot more fun, more opportunities, and it's a sense of pride and accomplishment. I'll give you an example. So we recently bought a vocal throat spray company, right? That's used by musicians and public speakers and things like that around the world. In fact, I'm using a little bit of it right now because I got a sore throat. And so we bought this company. Now get this, this company was doing about $160,000, $170,000 a year in gross sales. It was doing about $80,000 to $90,000 a year in profit, but she was still losing money because she didn't know how to manage it. She admitted she was a terrible business person, had a great idea, but didn't know how to manage it. We actually ended up buying that company, get this, folks, for $15,000. I got somebody else to put up the 15, but we actually paid her over time. We paid her over 5 months, so we paid her $3,000 a month. I borrowed a couple $1,000 for cash flow purposes to grow the company, but we used the existing cash flow and the additional sales to actually pay her off. And now we own this company free and clear. It's now doing about $300,000 a year in profit, in gross revenue, and it's now doing about $180,000 a year in net profit. We could sell that company right now today for about $500,000 to $750,000. We picked it up for $15,000. So that's a really small company, right? That we started really small, but because we're using the same proprietary techniques to grow the company, we can boom the profits of any business. So that's just another example. Here's a case study. This one says, Mike, we just completed the purchase of a construction company that's doing over $15 million a year in sales. The company nets $2.4 million, and we bought it with none of our own money. Now, Joe and his wife, they were retired, and they were very concerned about maintaining their retirement income. They were on a fixed income. They did not want to touch any of the retirement. They didn't want to put anything at risk. I totally get that. So we helped them structure this deal. Now, do you think they're worried about living on a fixed income? No. They have a company where somebody else is managing it, running the company, and they're getting cash flow out of that company on a monthly basis. And if they can do it, folks, so can you. Now, key number 4 is to sell the business for 3 times more than it's worth. So it's really about getting the right teams to do excellent work for you. And you got to plan that strategy in advance, and you need to use proven techniques and systems so that ultimately all you do is you copy, you implement, and you repeat the process, and you keep doing that again and again. And you do one company after another after another. Remember, I don't want you to buy one company. How many do I want you to buy? I want you to buy 4 or more, right? There's no limit to how many deals you can do. Why say 4, right? That's the minimum I want you to have in my mind, but you can do certainly more than that if you want to. So ultimately, you get to make and keep more money. You enjoy life more. You reinvest the profits into your dreams. You have that sense of personal power. You have a positive impact on the economy because you're creating jobs. You're not firing people. You're creating jobs, and you also get to give back to your community. I tell you right now, we're actually in the middle of working on 3 IPOs, taking 3 companies public. Now, folks, imagine for a moment that you take, and let's just give you some just round numbers, okay? Let's say you got a company that's doing $1 million a year in profit. Well, we could sell that company for about 4 multiple on that, right? So let's say that's $4 million is what you could sell it for. But when you take a company public, even though nothing has changed, it's the exact same company from one day to the next, same profit, same gross sales, everything else. However, when you take a company public, we're going to take it public at a 12 to 15 multiple. So that $1 million company that you could sell for 4 privately is now worth somewhere between $12 and $15 million because of what we call the miracle of the multiple. This happens with Wall Street just by taking a company public, and it's actually pretty easy to do. Now, let's say that you found that deal and you brought it in. How many of you, and please use your question in the answer box here, how many of you would like to be able to have equity in that company because you're our partner, you brought us a deal, we give you equity in that company, we do all the work, the company that we're taking public, they pay for it, right? So we put the teams into place. The company pays for it. We get equity in the deal. You get equity in the deal, which creates what we call a liquidity event at the end, meaning that we could borrow against that stock because it's now worth 12 times what it was doing. We could sell the stock to generate cash if we want to. We could gift the stock to get tax write-offs. You could set it up in the trust for your kids. You create legacy. Okay. You can do all sorts of things. You give back to your community. So I'm seeing, yeah, a whole lot of yeses. Absolutely. Well, yeah, who wouldn't? So we're seeing lots of yeses. So that's great. So think about IPOs. That's the ultimate exit strategy. Here's another case study. Where this is Simon. He says, Mike, I did my first deal in 3 weeks with your system. I got instant equity in the company at $4,000 a month or $48,000 a year. I have a couple more deals, and I'm now receiving more than 6 figures per year for a couple of hours of work each week, and I'll be able to sell my company's equity for over $1 million very, very soon. Now, Simon's big thing is he loved his job. He didn't want to quit his job, but he wanted more than a full-time income from just part-time effort. And so, you know, folks, I don't want you to quit your job. You like your job, keep your job, but you do this on the side and build up the legacy factor, build up your income so that you have the money to live your dreams, live the lifestyle that you know that you were meant to live, as opposed to having a JOB, which for a lot of people, maybe not you, but for a lot of people is just over broke. They're working for somebody else, making somebody else rich. And I want you to live your lifestyle. Now, key number 5, this is a bonus one, is about your mindset, okay? I mentioned earlier there's a difference between a cynic and a skeptic. A cynic is somebody that goes out and they find every reason on why something can't possibly work and why it won't work and why it may work there, but it won't work here. They're going to find every reason to turn it off. Well, you know, a skeptic just says, okay, you know, I believe